Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay Perrin and I am a digital marketer at Viral Solutions. Today we are going to go over building a newsletter in Campaign Builder and Infusionsoft and setting it up in a way so that we are grabbing people's interest off of their click and being able to use that to then segment them by interest and sending them into other engagement campaigns, and hopefully using that interest to further educate and turn it into a sale. So to start with this, we have a blank campaign that I've just labeled newsletter. And first we are going to pull out our tag goal, which for us, we have a standard newsletter tag that we apply to those that we want to send our newsletter to. You might have other ways that people come into your newsletter, such as you have a web form sign up on your website for people to ask to be added to your newsletter. So the web form goal would be for new people coming into your list. Your tag would be for people that are already on your list, have already previously signed up, and need to get your newsletter this month. Next, we pull out a sequence box, and this is going to set up the staging to send out your newsletter. We need to make sure that these are connected so that they move into the sequence box. And I like to label this first one staging area. I'll go into a little bit more why as we start to build this out. Next, I'm going to bring out another sequence box. This is going to be where my actual newsletter is. It's always good practice to have standard protocol of how you name your sequence boxes, especially if you have more than one user in your Infusionsoft application. It makes things easier to find. If you've been using Infusionsoft for any period of time, you'll notice that there's not really much of a search function when it comes to Campaign Builder. You can't just type in a search to find where an email or web form or tag is being applied or lives in any given campaign. So the best way to do this is to have some sort of labeling protocol. So anytime we make a sequence that has an email that is inside of it, we like to put a letter E and then a bracket to divide it out, and then just whatever that email is. So let's call this the November newsletter 2017, since that's the month we're in right now in the year, and it is our newsletter email. So we're going to go ahead and connect those. Our next sequence box that we're going to pull out is one that we're going to just put up here. I'm going to label this remove already sent. The reason we're creating this box is because we want to set up our newsletter to be able to segment people, and we want to run our newsletter for more than just one day. We want to be able to send it to people that are also signing up and new. And because we're using it to segment and pulling people out of this campaign, but they will eventually come back in when that segmentation ends, we want to make sure that if they come back into this campaign before we have a new newsletter going out, before it turns over to December, we want to make sure they're not getting this a second time. So we need to set up a filter for that. So we're also going to move this over here, which is going to create your decision diamond, which will let your campaign know in what situation does somebody get the newsletter and in what situation do we know that they already got it. The last sequence box we're going to need is to remove people that come in here but have actually opted out. So they've let us, for some reason, they have the opt-out tag but also never got their newsletter or e-zine tag removed that brought them in here originally. So we need to remove that. Next, we are going to open up our newsletter sequence, and in here we are going to put our date timer for when we want this newsletter to send out. We are going to need our actual email that is the newsletter itself, and then we want to apply a tag so that we know they got this. This is going to be crucial to create in order to filter people out who've already gotten the November newsletter but then are brought back into this campaign. Your date range, you'll need to switch it to between and decide what time frame you want to send it through. Let's do it just for a week. And then at what time, if you want to send it at exact time or between a certain time of day. And use context time zone means it's if you have global contacts or people across varying time zones, this is probably going to be what you want to click so that it's not 8 a.m. by you, but you're sending them a newsletter at midnight because they're on the other side of the world. So in the case of a newsletter, I would suggest doing use context time zone. We're going to label this email exactly how we labeled the sequence box. This is going to help you when you're looking at a contact's record and you pull up their campaign tab. It'll let you know where in a campaign they are, what stage they're at, what sequence they're in, and it'll really be able to help you find where things are located. Because like I said before, there's not really much of a search function. So as long as you're properly naming things, you should be able to find it a little bit easier. Next, we are going to need to create our November newsletter tag. We've already sent out ours, so I'm just going to grab the one that we've already created. So we actually call our newsletter an easing, means the same thing. So for this purpose, our protocol is to name it email delivered so that I know this is a tag based on that an email was sent. That's ED is just an abbreviation for email delivered. When you go into somebody's contact record, in certain places the tag is not going to show the tag category. So this just lets me know a quick acronym for what it is about the November easing. Did they opt out? Did they sign up? In this case, it's that the email has been delivered. They've already received it. Then we just click save. To save some time, I'm just going to use our template from the November newsletter that we've already sent out. So I've previously saved our template for the easing that we sent out to our list in November. So right here, I'm going to click Use Template. And here is our email copy with all of the links, our subject line, and who it's coming from. I'll just switch this over to draft. I'm not going to go into detail of building the actual email because mostly what I want to show you here is once you have your email or your newsletter set up, how you use it to segment based on interest. So we're going to move back out here, put this to draft because we are all done setting this up. Now that we have our tag filter to know that they got it, we can start setting up our decision diamond here. So when you open up your decision diamond, it's going to show you all the sequence boxes that are connected to this decision diamond. We have rules for getting the newsletter, we have rules for if it's already been sent, and we have rules to remove somebody if they are an opt-out. So we just need to click Add a Rule, Person. We're using a tag to filter them. We want them to not contain the email delivered tag, so we're just going to search for that. And we also want to make sure that nobody that is an opt-out goes into the sequence box. So again, tags doesn't contain, and then you'll need to find out any of your opt-out tags. For us, we have one for bounces. We have one for those who opt out themselves. And then we have another tag for those who we opt out on their behalf. You might have, this might apply to somebody who is a vendor that you want in your database so you have their information stored and so you can send them quotes, but you don't want them getting in your marketing campaign. So you're going to do this administrative opt-out tag. For remove already sent, it's going to look a lot like this one, except we're going to change it to tags contains. But the same for the opt-out and the bounce tags. And then lastly, anybody who has an opt-out or a bounce tag, we just want to remove them entirely. We don't need to worry if they've already been sent the newsletter or not, because they are considered an opt-out. We're not sending it to them no matter what. So tags contains any of our opt-out tags. Notice I'm also clicking or instead of and. This is going to let the decision diamond know that if it has just this or just this or just this. If I put and, it would need to be that the contact had all three of those tags. All right, our decision diamond is all set up. So usually for the staging area, I do a standard process for what we want to happen anytime somebody signs up, and then to run the tagged people through here so that we're ensuring that they've also gone through this process, and if not, they're being caught at this point. And then lastly, to make sure they run through this filter before going on to getting the newsletter. So things you might want to add in here is every time somebody signs up for your newsletter, you might want to assign a user. You're going to want to apply your e-zine tag or your newsletter tag, whatever it is that is in your tag goal right here. For the remove opt-out, it's likely they came in here because they still have the newsletter tag, but based on our decision diamond, they have the opt-out tag. So we're going to remove anything that might trigger other campaigns to occur in the future. So in this case, we want to make sure they aren't sent in here again. They're not being triggered to get an e-zine or a newsletter. This box you can just leave empty. And now we're ready to start setting up our newsletter for segmentation. You're going to do this off of click goals, so you'll drag out your email link click, and you're going to connect it to your email. So this first article we have in here is about Facebook engagement, and I'm going to monitor this link being clicked. I'm going to label this clicked Facebook. And then I'm going to pull out a sequence box to happen of what I want to happen if somebody clicks to read more about Facebook. In this case, I want to apply an interest tag that they're interested in Facebook. I'm going to find my Facebook interest tag. Switch it to ready and go back. So what's going to happen is somebody gets the newsletter and they see that first article about Facebook engagement and they click on it. Now I'm tagging them because I'm assuming they read that article because of their interest in Facebook engagement rates. This tag is set up in another campaign, and it's going to trigger an email about Facebook engagements and offer maybe a guide about how to improve Facebook engagements. And from there, if they download the guide, I'm going to offer them assistance with managing their social media on Facebook and helping them with their posting, maybe helping them with their advertising dollars. And you can continue to do this and pull out click goals for every article that you have in here, or for every link that you have in your email that you want to be monitoring. Say I want to tag somebody based on an interest in the sales and marketing process and follow up and talk to them more about that. Down here we have an offer for a free consultation. Maybe I'm monitoring this and making sure that they don't just click this and abandon it. I want to know that they actually took action and requested a free consultation. And if not, maybe I'm following up with them with a cart abandoned. And then lastly, you can pull out a quick goal to monitor this unsubscribe box and making sure that you're truly pulling people out of your campaign from getting future emails if they unsubscribe. Similar setup to what we did over here. Label that as unsubscribe because that is what we are going to click here. And then in this case, we are applying an opt-out tag and removing the easing tag because they have opted out of it. They've clicked unsubscribe. So we want to apply our opt-out tag, switch this to remove, and remove our newsletter tag. And that is how you set up a newsletter for segmentation. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. You can find us at viralsolutions.net.